Hello and welcome back to another episode of the rebuild of MJ444, Aero Legends' new Spitfire. We're here on the Isle of Wight at Sandown Airfield and we're visiting Airframe Assemblies, where hopefully inside I'll meet Steve and we'll see the parts, the remains and the new rebuild and see how it's coming along here. Hi Steve, I'm Parky.
Pleased to meet you, Parky. Welcome to Airframe Assemblies.
Well, I'm excited to be here and looking to see what you've got inside.
Well, come and have a look at how we're getting on with MJ.
Fantastic.
If you look out here, Parky, we've got just a few bits. I mean, we've got bagfuls of it round the corner, as they say, but there's a few bits we've just laid out here of the recovered salvage parts of MJ444, bits which will be recognisable to you, hopefully. As you can see, you've got the complete sort of surround here of the front armoured screen, the fairing with the de-icer bar, the fairings on the side. I mean, look at the paint on that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Perfect, isn't it?
Incredible. And
some of the fixtures and fittings on here, I mean, like the armour plate there,
you'll be able to use.
Yeah, I mean, we'll straighten that end out. It's armour plate. It's a sort of almost auxiliary tertiary piece of structure by today's standards. No one's going to be shooting at you. So you know, things like that will go back into the rebuild.
Into the rebuild. And you know,
and see
so
here
this is the strap.
That's the harness release.
That still works. The harness release still works.
Yeah, that'll all be taken off.
Reuse.
Yes, we've got all that. We've got parts of the de-icing system controls. You know, there's clips, brackets, mounts, the bushes from where the two bits of datum long drum meet. We'll take that apart.
Go into the rebuild.
Yeah, rather than remake bushes. We've you know, these are perfectly good. No problem.
And this little plaque here, for example.
Yeah, I mean, we won't be doing the systems, but when it comes to that, I mean, these little plaques can be desoldered and put back onto the new things. I mean, you know, even bits of the like top hat structure like that. I mean, that'll all be stripped off and reused for the cockpit side stiffeners. And there's no reason why you wouldn't. It's in perfect condition. There's lots of little plates down there, stop valve things. I mean, all those will be taken off and reused right the way through this and the rest of the structure. This is the bit of the bulkhead. Some of these parts you can actually see we've already taken off. Some of these have already been drilled off recently or are already incorporated
in the aircraft.
Yeah, into the structure. And more bits will be when we get to that point as well.
And then that is the...
This is a piece of the original carry-through spar.
It is,
and then you can see the laminates there of how the actual wing spar is made.
That is the original, you can see exactly that, where it got its strength from.
Yeah, you can.
And then the 3 bolts, and then there would be 4 beneath that.
Yes, yeah, and on the other spar, on the upper spar, we have managed to get out some of these spacers as well, some of the spacer blocks, which again have been put back in already into the new frame 5 or the replacement restored frame 5 that we've already done in the jig.
Just so wonderful to see, isn't it?
Well, it's all about trying to incorporate as much originality and authenticity as we possibly can.
I can see here, Steve, there's Belgian mud on the panel there.
There is indeed, residue.
And MJ was in the ground for, we think, 73 years in Belgium. Do you know whereabouts?
Well, it was not far from where it ended up in the museum, which was at Florence, where they have a Spitfire 14. And the excavation was carried out by a local guy who lived in a village, was told about an aeroplane. He didn't even know it was a Spitfire, let alone MJ444. He carried out the excavation. I won't use the word amateur, but he didn't really know what he was doing, didn't know what he had. Luckily, the guy that was involved with the display in the museum got to hear about it, retrieved the parts, and then
realised what he had.
Yeah, and then it became slightly more public knowledge. very good friend of ours, good contact in Belgium, in Holland, who knew the guys in Belgium, then got involved, and through various phone calls, emails and negotiations, we managed to end up with the remains that you see today, and has led to where we are. Yeah.
So Steve, here we are inside the noisy machining shop where they build Spitfire. So tell us about the place.
Well, we've been in this hangar now for just over 10 years. We were originally on the other side of the airfield, and prior to that we've been in smaller and smaller industrial units. We started in a little 700 square feet one many years ago, back in 1986. And as you can see, we've got a couple of fuselages on the go here, wings over there. Just to make a bit of a change to the normal pattern of stuff, we've got a Typhoon fuselage going together.
Yeah, it's great to see a Typhoon here as well.
Well, it's something different. I mean, we don't just do Spitfires. I mean, predominantly it's always come back to that over the years.
I guess MJ444 is down there some way. Which one is she?
It is, yeah. It's the second jig over from where we're standing, just behind the slightly more complete one, which we're doing for another client, started earlier on in the year. And the leading edges of the wings of 444 are over there. And then the fin unit is just being done down here as well. So we've got the three major components going on, with a few loose parts scattered throughout the workshop on the fitters' benches.
Should we go and have a look?
We can go and have a look, yeah, let's go down.
So NH341 Elizabeth was built on this jig?
Yeah, one of your other aeroplanes, yeah, we did that one back in whenever it was.
March 12.
Yeah,
that long ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And this jig, this system of being built was pretty much exactly as it was in the war, same principle?
Same principle, oh yeah, I mean if you look at some of the old black and white factory photographs, Supermarines, I mean there were rows and rows of these jig fixtures. I mean this is basically, this is an 80-year-old, 80-year-on leap into the future, but it's exactly the same methodology. And you'll also find on the other jig your other aeroplane.
And here she is. She's definitely taking shape.
Yeah, it's just starting to get the basic frames,
it's a Spitfire, can't you?
It's just starting to get that form now. Yeah, it's not really until the skins go on, as they are with the next door one, that once you can't see through it anymore, then it starts to take the form, obviously far more. But
and how long has it taken for her to get to this stage?
In the jig, she's only actually been in the jig probably for about 3 or 4 weeks since we got frame 5 in. But obviously the hours
under a month, and she's already.
But the hours, obviously, the last few months have been getting all the frames made separately in the layout boards on the bench, and because obviously all that has to be done as preliminary before you can start to load the jig up with the frames.
And then frame 5, the sort of the heart of the
heart of the aeroplane, the main bulkhead. Everything centres around this frame. It's the main bulkhead. Number 5 frame, the wings attach, the engine bearer obviously picks up at the front, so everything, really hinges around the heart of the aeroplane, to be honest.
And I never cease to amaze that basically the 7 holes, nuts and bolts, 7 of them hold the entire wing in place. We'll see in a moment, I guess, but the upper spar and the lower spar of the wing hold on by 7 bolts.
It's just a big multi-pin joint that was amazingly effective.
Amazing, and you think of the weight of the wing and then the G, multiplying that weight by 6 times if you pull 6G, is held on with such a clever design. And
it is such a clever design, and obviously a lot of the secret of it is in that multi-layer sort of telescopic leaf spring type spar, which was really the genius, I think, that Mitchell came up with, that design, clamped onto this relatively simple joint, and historically I think Spitfire's, wing failures were, Tiny.
Maybe you hear stories of Measurement 109's wings collapsing when they but not
and this is such a strong joint that I don't know if you've ever heard the story, but I remember Dick Melton at Charles Church Spitfires telling me years ago when he was still building Spitfires, the frame 10 joint at the back, which is just a single pin. On more than one occasion, that pin had been missed out in maintenance and major servicing, and the aeroplane had flown and had been okay. Just held on by the front.
So nothing holding the back of the wing.
Nothing holding the back of the wing. People had noticed it moving and thought we better look at that.
That's not right.
No pin. So, but yeah, so it says something, doesn't it? It really does.
And should we go over and have a look at the
wings? You can have a look at
where they get bolted onto.
Yeah.
So here the wings are, Steve.
Yeah, these are the D boxes just going together now. We've just finished doing the leading edge skins, the big double curved skins. They look a bit weird at the moment because they're actually upside down, but yeah, so they'll be turned round. And
this simulates the frame 5 that we saw on the real.
It does,
MJ,
yeah.
And then these are the lower and the upper wing spars.
Yeah, these are sort of ground jig plates, which, as you say, replicate the bottom of frame 5, the bulkhead. And and then when it's turned the other way up, in a couple of weeks' time, then all of the holes will be filled. This is just a holding device at the moment, and then it'll
they've got to be fairly accurate.
Oh yeah, to within
to within
extremely accurate, which is why they're ground plates. Yeah.
How long has it taken for these leading edges to be? Both of
these have been in the jigs now for probably about 4 months. Yeah, a lot of work.
Well, it's such a complicated design, isn't it? With the beautiful elliptical wing.
I mean, we try and carry a set in stock, but just to actually make the spars, which is a very complex process, it's about 3 months' work to get them cut in, to get them in. And we are the only company in the world that actually do Spitfire spars, approved to do so. It's a very lengthy, complicated.
And the strength of the spar actually gets thinner because there's less.
Yeah, the laminates, the cutouts go.
So it's heavier, stronger here.
You start with. At this end you've got the 5 different size tubes so interlocked with a solid bar that goes to here. So when the dihedral it locks, and then as it goes staged outwards, then the cutouts cut out. So
I think I saw one over there.
It gives it the flexibility, as we mentioned earlier, almost similar to a leaf spring effect. Immensely strong, but very flexible, and the secret of the aeroplane. You know, I mean, and look at the thickness of the wing. I mean, compared to other aeroplanes of the period, which were double almost.
Hence, it was so fast.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the vertical fin unit of MJ, which is sort of just starting to go together in the jig. There's a lot going on the fin unit. People tend to underestimate. It has to fit onto the fuselage this end, rudder has to be all set this end, tailplanes in the middle. So a lot going on a relatively, what people would think is a fairly small part of the structure, but quite a complicated one. But we did have a brilliant idea earlier on. Yeah. So as this is sort of open and is being worked on currently, we thought perhaps you could drill a few holes for us.
Me drill the holes in the...
Have a go, yeah.
Is it expensive?
It's not that expensive, and yes, it is expensive. But our thought is, what could possibly go wrong?
I'd love to.
Give it a go. Steve, could you look after our esteemed visitor?
You're trusting me to put this is a skin stiffener.
Absolutely.
And we've got the tail unit of MJ444, and this, I mean, it's so light and so thin, the
28 thou.
Which is about 0.4 of a millimetre. So this skin stiffener will go on here, and then I'm going to drill a hole.
You drill a hole in the centre.
Drill it up, and then you're going to put a rivet to hold it in
You're going to put a clip in there to hold it in place, So I'll give you that to put in there. That's it, now you can put the other half a dozen in.
And you can do it all in one now?
Yeah. I guess if you're feeling confident, you can do the next one up.
Would these be referred to by the guys on the workshop regularly?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, everything we do. I mean, although we've got tools, layout boards, jigs, templates, we always check to the drawing because obviously the drawing is that level.
It's the gospel.
And yeah, I mean, although everything up here we've got paper copies of, it's all done now on computer terminals, and we have a remote terminal down in the workshop just underneath the window here, where all the boys, whatever they're looking at, whatever they're working on, wing, fuselage, tail, cowlings, whatever it might be, all the drawings are on the computer, so if they need to check something, a dimension, a thickness, whatever it might be, then it's a constant referral to the original drawings.
Got to be right.
Has to be right, yeah, and it's the only way to do it.
It was a very clever managing to squeeze the second cockpit into a single-seat fighter.
It was, yeah.
How intricate and how the detailing that they managed to make it work.
Yeah, well, the conversion basically, as you're probably aware, is actually moving the front cockpit forward 13.5 inches.
Yeah.
And then slotting the rear one in behind. Modern misconception is that they actually built these aeroplanes in the factory, where they didn't. They actually bought back a load of existing single-seater Mark 9s from the RAF and then converted those.
Well, that was great to see MJ444, as I'm now going to call her, being rebuilt. So many of the original parts are getting put into the new Spitfire, and she's definitely taking shape. So don't forget to follow us, subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.